And for all of you on Twitter who are hammering me for answering that, for asking that question, I don't care, because it's a question that needs to be asked. And clearly, the president's Republican colleagues a mile away from here are looking for an answer for it, too. So stop deflecting. Stop blaming the media. I'm tired of it.
All right. John Roberts is tired of it. So we're going to let.
We gon' fuck all night, bitch! We gon' fuck all night, bitch! 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 I said, bitch! I said, fuck all night, bitch! Bitch! We gon' fuck all night, bitch! We gon' fuck. And then, ah, shit, bitch! I miss. Bitch! No! Yes, sir! Instant pain! Mama, bitch! Bitch, this makes sense. Fucking makes sense. You ready to go? Yes. Come on. Let me help you. Got it?
Also, just one more thing before I go into work. I'm becoming afraid of my hatred for men. It started as a fun little, you know those TikToks where people are like, don't make jokes about having kinks because your brain doesn't know you're joking, and it actually develops them. I think I joked way too much about hating men, and now I am genuinely, in a sexist way, I hate them. Like, in a way that a white man from Alabama hates.
I am Patricia Oliver, and this is my husband, Manuel. 2 years ago, our beautiful son, Joaquin, was shot and killed at Parkland. Every day I think about him and what his last moments must have been like.
Meanwhile, every day, nearly 100 more families lose someone they love to gun violence. Every single day, we keep telling people it doesn't have to be like this. They don't listen. So we found a way to bring back someone that no one will ignore.
It's very hard for me to look at this. So please, please listen to what our son has to say.
Yo, it's me. It's Guac. I've been gone for 2 years and nothing's changed, bro. People are still getting killed by guns. What is that? Everyone knows it, but they don't do anything. I'm tired of waiting for someone to fix it. The election in November is the first one I could have voted in, but I'll never get to choose the kind of world I wanted to live in. So you've got to replace my vote. Go to unfinishedvotes.com, register, then go vote. Vote for politicians who care more about people's lives than the gun lobby's money. Vote for people not getting shot, bro. I mean, vote for me, because I can't. We've got to keep on fighting, and we got to end this.
Why wouldn't he just come clean and say, yep, these are my creditors? You say because we don't know this information, it makes him the most vulnerable president in our history.
He is the most vulnerable president in our history in terms of compromise and potential exposure to those who want to help him dig out of his financial pit in return for a price. And that's, I think, where the national security problem comes in. That price that they would ask for is that he makes decisions in their best interest, not in our best interest. There's also another layer to this, which is that when you're this entangled with Russia and the former Soviet bloc, you're going to run smack into organized crime figures. In fact, in my work in counterintelligence in the FBI, we often couldn't tell the difference between ex-Russian intelligence officers and current Russian organized crime figures. So there's too many gaps in the tax returns. There's too many questions. Why is this president paying more to foreign nations in taxes than he is to the United States? How does he cover his debt? Who's doing that for him? What's the Deutsche Bank connection? Why are there so many golf courses losing so much money? And why the continued purchase of those properties? So I suggest this, Stephanie, we've got to have a national discussion about how we vet a presidential candidate. We screwed this up, whether it's the media not digging deeply enough, whether it's a time to have a discussion about a bipartisan committee that demands tax returns, make that a requirement, or exposes financial pictures for candidates. But we got this wrong, and this can't happen again.
Normally, as I'm scrolling through comments and I see something like this, I totally ignore it and move on with my life. But I think it's about high time that I address this because it's 2020. And in this day and age, I'm shocked that someone still doesn't know the difference between your and your. So just a quick reference, your as in you are, like you are sexist. Your is something possessive, it belongs to you, like your ignorance. But don't worry, I'm here for you. If you need any more clarification, you can find me here, in my captain's chair.
Kayleigh McEnany has the monster. Kayleigh McEnany has the China virus. I am hearing that Buffalo Sarah Sanders is coming back. Are we getting more Buffalo Sarah Sanders? Is she going to come in to fill in for the next 2 weeks? Or maybe we get Sean, my hips don't lie, Spicer. Maybe he'll be coming back to replace Kayleigh McEnany. It's Monday, folks. It's just fucking Monday.
Around him and that he put their lives at risk. And we haven't heard one iota of humility, sorrow, or even the faintest hint that he now understands what millions of Americans do and that he will work to protect them. You heard none of that.
This is a Mussolini moment. Donald Trump, who looks like he has makeup on, which means somebody had to get close enough to make up his face with his favorite orange patina. He's standing there as if he is, you know, a member of the old Russian Tsar family. I don't know what that's supposed to be. I guess it's his sort of discount.
But let's get it poppin' with all my ladies. Hold on. Bitch, did you hear what the fuck I said?
Arrest the killers of Breonna Taylor.
You knew that because of the Holocaust.
The fuck?
I low-key got really sad about the Holocaust this weekend. Moses explained to me what actually happened, and I like started crying.
You just found out about the Holocaust?
I had no idea that they like tricked them into going into showers and like killed millions of them that way.
Have you seen Schindler's List?
No.
You should watch that.
I feel like I got really sad when he said that because we were watching The Producers and they had like Springtime for Hitler, and I was like, oh, that's cute. And then he was like telling me, I'm like, well, what did Hitler do? That was so bad.
Oh my god.
And then he told me,
I have to beat you. I can't lose to you.
It made me cry. I'm showing I'm empathetic. Like I'm not like making a joke. Like I was like, oh,
no,
God,
I just think
sad.
I just think you're. I can't lose. Everything is tied up in this. Just go ahead. You didn't know, you just literally asked me, what did Hitler do that was so bad?
There he is, hair blown majestically, reshooting the scene for his own ad. I hold rallies And I tell you to ignore masks, and I rip mine off as I vanquish the virus because I am a leader. Fear not, COVID. What a bunch of bullshit. Going back to the White House, if you want to know the reality, the truth, okay? The virus is the truth. The virus doesn't care about left and right. The virus does what's reasonable. You give me a chance, I'll spread. You keep away from me, you don't give me a chance, I run out of hosts, I die. I am the truth. If you're doing the right thing, you don't see me that much. If you're doing the wrong thing, you do. The White House is literally what we fear the most, a rash of contagion called a cluster.
Sure. Also, his wife did not wear a mask when she was on stage at the end. Everybody other than the candidates and the moderator were supposed to be wearing a mask. Karen Pence was not wearing a mask at the end.
It's bizarre.
Like, you know what? You could save lives if you would do that. And you might, in fact, be saving somebody's life in the room right now if, in fact, your husband was exposed to a COVID-infected person in the past week, which he was.
Yeah, absolutely.
Trump can be and must be expunged. The hate he has triggered, the Pandora's box he has opened, they will not be so easily destroyed. So, let us brace ourselves. The task is twofold. The terrorist Trump must be defeated, must be destroyed, must be devoured at the ballot box. And then he and his enablers and his supporters and his collaborators and the Mike Lees and the William Barrs and the Sean Hannitys and the Mike Pences and the Rudy Giulianis and the Kyle Rittenhouses and the Amy Coney Barretts must be prosecuted and convicted and removed from our society while we try to rebuild it. And to rebuild the world Trump has nearly destroyed by turning it over to a virus. Remember it, even as we dream of a return to reality and safety and the country for which our forefathers died, that the fight is not just to win an election, but to win it by enough to chase, at least for a moment, Trump and the maggots off the stage, and then try to clean up what they left. Remember it, even though to remember it means remembering that the fight does not end November 3rd, but in many ways will only begin that day.
We'll make America great. We are all in this together. Everybody together now. Everybody sing M-A-G-A. M-A-G-A. Black, white, and brown from every city and town. We don't let haters keep us down. M-A-G-A. M-A-G-A. The American crowd, patriotic and proud. Shouting, shouting out loud. M-A-G-A.
But I want to just ask you very simply, and I imagine you'll give me a very short, resolute answer. But you condemn white supremacy, correct?
Yes. At Spotify, everyone just trusts each other and has this culture of it's okay to ask questions even if they might be difficult questions.
Pronouns are kind of a tricky subject for me in that I keep going back and forth about kind of what to use where.
Well, I spent about 30 years or so in the closet because my previous employers didn't have any particular tolerance for transgender people.
At Spotify, we have employee resource groups, and Spectrum is our LGBTQ plus employee resource group.
At Spotify, having a diverse workforce and being inclusive is important so everyone can feel like themselves at work.
So what we did is to come up with a list of essentially every medical procedure that trans people might need.
Basically, Spotify said, oh, we didn't realize there was a problem there. We'll fix it. And that was pretty amazing.
As of 2019, we now offer masculinization and feminization treatments recommended by the World Professional Association for Transgender Health.
It's not a question of vanity. You know, for someone who needs these things, it's really a question of being able to be perceived, you know, as themselves.
At Spotify, everyone's part of Spotify. Everyone's a member of the band, and everyone is determined to help everyone else who needs it.
My advice is don't be afraid. There's nothing wrong with knowing who you are and where you stand.
Part of what I'm doing here is trying to be visible so people who are like me know that they're not alone.
Does the Constitution give the President of the United States the authority to unilaterally delay a general election under any circumstances? Does federal law?
Well, Senator, if that question ever came before me, I would need to hear arguments from the litigants and read briefs and consult with my law clerks and talk to my colleagues and go through the opinion writing process. So, you know, if I give off-the-cuff answers, then I would be basically a legal pundit. And I don't think we want judges to be legal pundits. I think we want judges to approach cases thoughtfully and with an open mind.
Harris and Biden is going to help with black ownership, huh? Okay. Maybe it's true. But what about the black colleges and all the funding for the HBCUs? Is Biden going to follow in Obama's footsteps and go all out with health care? Or is he going to laugh at us like our president now while our people struggle on welfare? You see, I did my research, which is exactly why I could rebuttal that. Biden and Harris planning to put $70 billion to the HBCU. We're not just talking about a couple racks, giving teachers a raise. What Trump attempted to do, they plan to double that. And as far as the rich and poor with schools, the whole goal is to end the funding gap. That sounds legit. Only if our president now would quit. Hey, did you know that unemployment for African Americans is up 50%? So when you tell me to go and vote, well, the reason why it's such a hard one, because how we expect our people to get jobs, and the president can't even get the job done. Bro, I understand it's a process, so I'm not rushing you. Take your time. You know what, speaking of that, I got the perfect place to take you that'll change your mind. So you think because you brought me here that I'm just supposed to confide in Biden? What about the innocent blacks that get snatched out their vehicles just for riding? We don't even ask for much. All we do is ask for respect. Before they did what they did to George Floyd, this country had their foot on our neck. Now do you understand why I'm upset? I feel you, because every time we throw the system an uppercut, all they give us in return is low blows. But Biden and Harris got a plan to outlaw the chokehold. It's inspiring. Donald Trump is the apprentice, but now it's our turn to do the firing and review everything even before we hire him. Breonna Taylor, George Floyd, Eric Gardner, Trayvon Martin, say their damn names. The goal is to get Donald out of office and Trump his campaign. You know, before you actually called my phone, I honestly had no hope. But if Biden and Harris going to do exactly what you said, then I'm going to go vote.
Before I begin, I wanted to take a moment to talk directly with the American people about where we are and how we got here. So we are in the middle of a deadly pandemic that has hit our country harder than any other country in the world. More than 215,000 of our fellow Americans have died, and millions more, including the President, Republican members of this committee, and more than 100 frontline workers here at the Capitol complex have been infected. This pandemic has led to an historic economic crisis, causing millions of workers to lose their jobs without warning, and 12 million Americans have lost their employer-based health insurance. The Senate, I strongly believe, must be and needs to be laser-focused on you, the American people, to help you get through this pandemic. To do so, the Senate urgently needs to pass critical financial relief for those who are struggling because of this pandemic, and many are struggling. People need help. They need help to pay their rent or mortgage. Parents need help putting food on the table. The millions of American workers who have lost their jobs need help making it through the end of the month. And small businesses need help so they don't have to close their doors for good. But sadly, Senate Republicans have rushed to hold this Supreme Court confirmation hearing rather than help those who are suffering through a public health crisis not of their making. As I said yesterday, these priorities are not the American people's priorities.
Put your fucking mask on! Put your mask on! There's COVID cases! Hurry up! Put it on! Put it on!
$100 in the chat. We would put them on.
Well, no. You know what? I get accused of silencing people. I get accused of canceling people. I want you to understand, Nick, that I don't have that control because either.
Why did you tag YouTube? Wait, why did you tag YouTube then? If you weren't trying to get him kicked off YouTube, why did you tag YouTube and YouTube support on Twitter? You're a verified account.
Yeah.
You know they'll see it if you're a verified account. Why would you tag them if that wasn't your intention?
My intention is entirely to let people know that what I saw, the harassment of that woman, as a user of YouTube, as somebody that uses the platform, I said this earlier in the show, is something that I find disturbing.
Nick,
okay?
did you say?
So,
Nick,
but did that have any effect on whether he was pulled? What about the macing? What about the macing?
Hitting
that
a guy
later
with his car.
To ensure the fitness of nominees for a lifetime appointment to the federal bench or to any of the other positions for any of the committees on which they appear, I ask each nominee these two questions, and I will ask them of you. Since you became a legal adult, have you ever made unwanted requests for sexual favors or committed any verbal or physical harassment or assault of a sexual nature?
No, Senator Hirono.
Have you ever faced discipline or entered into a settlement related to this kind of conduct?
No, Senator.
Judge Barrett, do you think it is appropriate for justices to consider real-world impacts in their decision-making, as Justice Ginsburg noted in a number of her dissents?
Well, Senator, the doctrine of stare decisis.
City girls make them wish like Ray J. Let me talk to them. All these niggas wanna fuck JT. They do. Hellcat, this a SRT. Pull up G-Wags, he's 3. Make a 55 suck, they teeth. He want a menage with a new body. Man, you niggas can't fuck with me, cause I came from the bottom, from the fence to the chopper. Broke bitches ain't saying a thing, period. I tell her shut the fuck.
Armed militias roaming America's streets. And we have no tolerance for extremist white supremacist group in this community. These guys are hatching violent and deranged schemes like the one against Governor Whitmer that the FBI and local law enforcement uncovered and stopped last week. But make no mistake, that was a planned act of terrorism. A plot. Think of this, a plot. The United States of America to blow up a bridge on American soil, to threaten the lives of police officers, to kidnap an American leader. The sort of behavior you might expect from ISIS. And it should shock the conscience of every American to see that sort of twisted thinking and take root here in America.
What are Jewish organizations? The ADL?
ADL, yeah. That is literally what they did it to me, the Zionist Organization of America.
Listen to you. You sound like the fucking John Birch Society, and all we try to do in a civil society is control that kind of rhetoric, because it's all it is hurtful. All it is destructive. You're an agent of destruction, Nick. You're not contributing to the success or the prosperity of this country. You're making people incredibly stressed and making people incredibly uncomfortable and angry. You are not a person who is encouraging any kind of communion or growth.
Go back to where you came from. Y'all don't belong here. We need our nalgas, big and small. Shut these Karens up once and for all. Mudos cachetes, vote like this. Or say adios to healthcare unless you're rich. Mueve pom pom, mueve
Anyone got a problem?
I was just on the 405 and I got stuck in that stupid Trump rally and they fucking boxed me in and they're pointing at me and laughing at me saying ha ha, and literally I almost crashed because they wouldn't let me out. I was trying to go around it and they were all stopping and going. They boxed me in on the fucking freeway. All I wanted to do was go around and they were just being so violent. I could have crashed. I could have fucking crashed. It was so dangerous. And I just don't understand why that's the country that y'all are supposedly wanting right now. Really? That's what makes America great? That's fucked up. I could have fucking died right now. That was so fucking dangerous. Pointing at me and laughing at a Mexican. Oh, God. That was really fucking scary. I don't...
One other thing about the Gates McBreitbart nonsense that Trump spews, that like this little code words that make Hannity's pins shine at specific moments when he utters them. The president, even though he leaned into it a little bit, but he didn't really go full bore.
Yeah.
Which I think was wise, or at least not stupid. He is running the single most negative, sleazy campaign in American history for a major party candidate. Now, it used to be that people would be negative.
That says something.
Well, it used to be people would be negative, and you could always say, well, don't forget the campaign against Dukakis, or historians like Beschloss or whatever would come on and say, in 1800, Jefferson had pamphleteers who accused John Adams of being a hermaphrodite or whatever. The campaign that Trump and his allies in the media and his members of his family and the Trump-allied websites and such are leveling with charges so heinous, I'm not even going to say them. Just nonsense, crap, tied into QAnon, tied into Pizzagate, tied into the worst things you could say about a person, with no evidence, just completely made up, is so disgusting and so beneath what this election should be. And I just want viewers at home to be ready, because all of their grandparents' Facebook feeds and all of the Twitter sphere, and it's going to be so heinous over the next 11 days. And people should just be prepared for it. The president leaned into some of it, generally just some of the sleazier, baseless accusations, not the worst. But it's going to get a lot worse.
Hi, I want to show you what I got as a gift. It's called a Damn It doll.
Of COVID-19, a horrid bug, the nasty queen. You don't want to get it, you have to beware, so wash your hands with extra care. 2 meters away from other folk, it lives in your lungs, so do not smoke. They say the hospital is a front line. I say it's not. Hold my wine. Stay at home, close your door, a shop, a walk, and nothing more. If you do this and remember our rhyme, you'll be back with your family in no time.
We have control of this. We can do things that could turn that around.
So I understand, you don't want to wade into politics, but masks are not political, right? They shouldn't be political, right? And we see the president at these rallies and people don't wear masks. And Joe Biden does have a really different plan, right? And today he talked about it, and he specifically talked about making mask wearing mandatory. Here's how he put it.
First, I'll go to every governor, urge them to mandate mask wearing in their states. And if they refuse, I'll go to the mayors and county executives and get local masking requirements in place nationwide.
He also wants to make masks mandatory, federal buildings, interstate transportation. Do you think this is a good idea? Is this what a president of the United States would be helpful if they were doing, fighting for mask mandates?
Well, one of the issues that people that talk about mandating not be a good idea, because then they'll say they have to enforce it, and there's going to be a difficulty enforcing it. But if everyone agrees that this is something that's important, and they mandate it, and everybody pulls together and say, we're going to mandate it, but let's just do it, I think that would be a great idea, to have everybody do it uniformly. One of the issues, though, I get the argument, say, well, if you mandate a mask, then you're going to have to enforce it, and that'll create more of a problem. Well, if people are not wearing masks, then maybe we should be mandating it.
So in other words, but it sounds like what you're saying is sort of the power of the commons. But you're going to have some people who don't wear them. You only need to have a certain amount. And a mandate could get you there.
Right.
Even if you don't have enforcement, right?
Right.
So,
right, exactly.
Okay, so when you mentioned vaccine, and I know you spent a lot of time on that, and you also spent a lot of time on...
Yeah! And I'm married to the next president of the United States!
Inspirations. Okay, get ready for this one. Will you stand with Joe Biden and come?
You heard about my ex-boyfriend, right? 50 Cent and his support of Donald Trump.
Yeah, what's going on between you? I saw your tweets and I go, wait, what's happening? Because you said he was your favorite ex-boyfriend and then what does he do? He's supporting Trump?
He says he doesn't want to pay 62% of taxes, which, by the way, isn't a plan of Joe Biden's. That's a lie. So he doesn't want to pay 62% of taxes because he doesn't want to go from being 50 cents to 20 cents. And I had to remind him that he was a black person, so he can't vote for Donald Trump, and that he shouldn't be influencing an entire swath of people who may listen to him because he's worried about his own personal pocketbook. So I haven't heard back from him yet, but I am willing to, seal the deal in more ways than one if he changes his mind and publicly denounces Donald Trump. I might be willing to go for another spin, if you know what I'm talking about.
And history will record that by brute political force, in contradiction to its stated principles, this Republican majority confirmed a lifetime appointment on the eve of an election. A justice who will alter the lives and freedoms of the American people while they stood in line to vote. Leader McConnell has lectured the Senate before on consequences of a majority's action. You'll regret this, he told Democrats once, and you may regret this a lot sooner than you think. Listen to those words. You'll regret this, and you may regret it a lot sooner than you think. I would change just one word. My colleagues may regret this for a lot longer than they think. Here, at this late hour, at the end of this sordid chapter in the history of the Senate, the history of the Supreme Court, my deepest and greatest sadness is for the American people. Generations yet unborn will suffer the consequences of this nomination. As the globe gets warmer, as workers continue to fall behind, as unlimited dark money floods our politics, as reactionary state legislatures curtail a woman's right to choose, gerrymander districts, and limit the rights of minorities to vote, my deepest, greatest, and most abiding sadness tonight is for the American people and what this nomination will mean for their lives, their freedoms, their fundamental rights. Monday, October 26th, 2020, it will go down as one of the darkest days in the 231-year history of the United States Senate. I yield the floor.